So, good morning to all my dear students and all the viewers. In this my first lecture 1, myself Mr. Gopabandhu Ghadai, Senior Lecturer Mechanical of Bose Cuttack. Today my topic course name is Power Station Engineering of 6th semester Mechanical. Also it is a common subject to other branches like mechanical production, mechanical integrated, mechanical maintenance, mechanical automobiles. So, this is a common course for all mechanical and other allied branches. You know, power station engineering can be defined as a power plant engineering where steam is used to drive the turbine or the prime mover, and that turbine rotates the generator shaft and we get the electricity. So, this is the aim of the power station engineering, and today I will start from the unit 2, that is thermal power stations. So, in this thermal power station it is included about the layout of steam power stations, steam power cycles. First is Carnot cycle, another the real cycle which is used in the steam power plant, that is called Rankine cycle, and then we will solve some numericals on above problems, above cycles. So, before going to details, you know how the steam is produced in boiler and the quality of the steam. This is already covered in your last semesters, the dry steam, wet steam, saturated steam and superheated steam. So, that steams are the working fluid in the steam turbine or in the thermal power stations. In Odisha, you will find the National Thermal Power Corporation in Talcher, Konya this area, that is the super thermal power station where the output is 500 megawatt. In Odisha, in earlier 60s, the Talcher Thermal Power Corporation was producing electricity, and that is used for our state. This thermal power station can be designed by taking heat from other sources. So, one is your coal based thermal power station, another is your nuclear power plant where the nuclear reaction gives heat to the boiler and we get the steam, that is called nuclear reactor. So, which we will discuss in the next lecture, but here another design is your heat getting from the diesel power plant, that is known as diesel power plant. So, that is included in your thermal power station where diesel combustion of diesel, like your diesel engine, we get the heat and that heat is utilized in the boiler and we will get the steam. That steam again goes to the turbine, then from the turbine it goes to the, after expansion we get the mechanical work in the turbine, that is also called as a prime mover. That means it produces mechanical power. That power is utilized by the generator and we get the electricity. So, that unit is called turbo generator. Diesel. Next is your gas turbine power plant, where natural gas is used as the heat source and to produce steam from the water. So, like this the thermal power station are designed in various ways. That is your first is your this thermal power station which is coal based, another is nuclear power plant, another is next is diesel power plant, and another is gas turbine power plant. These are common and called as thermal power stations. Today, we will discuss about the thermodynamic cycles of the thermal power plant, which is your coal based power plant, that is not diesel nor nuclear, but the first is your thermal is a coal based power plant. We will discuss in details and what are their theoretical cycle or the thermodynamic cycles of the power plant. So, I have prepared a PPT and we will go one by one. Next is your layout of steam power station. Before going to another important data, I want to produce to you for better interest. One is the installed power capacity the total in India, our total production of electricity is 390.79 gigawatt up to recent data October 21. So, this is the total production of installed power capacity of our country, and again India is the fourth in wind power, from which you get the electricity like a steam turbine. The wind mill will produce the mechanical power, and that here is the air is the working fluid, and we generate the electricity by generator similar to steam turbine. Here the only difference is wind. Wind will rotate the turbine, that is called windmill. That turbine is primarily called windmill, and that windmill generate electricity by giving mechanical power, rotational power to the generator shaft. Another is we are fifth in solar power. The solar power plant which produces that is direct electricity from the photovoltaic cell. We get direct electricity from the sun. That is your one advantage, that solar power we are in fifth in the world, and this solar cells is available in nowadays. You can use in your home also for the generation of electricity. That is a direct conversion of one energy to another energy, that is solar energy to electrical energy. But in other cases there are indirect conversion. That means the heat energy is converted first work by the turbine, again that turbine, the production of the output of the turbine is the input to the generator, where it gets electricity. That means it is indirect method for getting electrical energy. But this one solar power plant where you get direct electricity from the sun rays. Another we are also fifth in renewable source, renewable, just like your hydroelectric power plant. That means those are not exhausted, they are available always, that known as renewable energy power plant. In the case like hydro power plant or a hydel power plant, geothermal power plant, that is your renewable source of energy. Tidal, you know, the in ocean the tidals produces, and that from the tidal you can get the electricity. In this area we are fifth. If we will take the statistics of the coal based power plant, here I want to mention the thermal power capacity from the coal. Coal, you know, coal the solid fuel, from that which after combustion we get heat, and that heat is utilized in the boiler to produce steam. That's in that power plant where the in Odisha, in Talcher, we will find that coal based power plant, because in the coal based power plant, coal is the major fuel, and availability of water also important, because water is the working fluid in the thermal power plant. So, that both are available in Talcher area. So, most of the power NTPC and our other power plants like Nalco, captive power plant will get there coal based. Also in our Eve Thermal in Belpahar, Jharsuguda district will also get, where coal is available in plenty, will install coal based power plant. From the coal based power plant, we are getting this much of power production. It is 202.41 gigawatt up to October 21. This is the data. And from the gas power plant, gas turbine, we are getting 6.26 gigawatt up to October 2021. From the diesel, we are getting diesel power plant, which we will find as a standby power plant in every office nowadays, which will gives interrupted power supply to office, any cinema hall, anywhere where it is a diesel power plant, and it will also it is a available in movable condition. So, this is the diesel. From the diesel we are getting 0.50 gigawatt, 0.50 gigawatt from the diesel power plant. In India, many states having this power plant where coal is not available, like in your Jammu Kashmir, in other state where coal is not available, they are using diesel as a source of electricity. And from the hydraulic power plant or hydro power plant like our Hirakud dam, which is a hydroelectric power plant, from that we are getting 46 in all over India, 46.51 gigawatt. That is the from water, that is a hydroelectric power plant. And the most source of heat is nuclear, or nowadays nuclear fission, where there is no pollution, but that you will get pollution in a coal based power plant, that you know ash of the coal and how it is polluting the environment. But in nuclear power plant there is no pollution free, that is pollution free. That from that source, the nuclear source or the nuclear power plant in India, their share is production of electricity is 6.78 gigawatt. If we add all these, we will get this much of our production in India from different power plants. Your thermal power plant, gas power plant, diesel power plant, hydroelectric power plant, solar power plant, windmill. So, you totally our production is this much, and we are also third in the world in the power production, third largest producer and also third largest consumers in India. The consumers quantity also very high, that is third largest consumers in all over compared to other countries. So, now we will go to our syllabus. So, first in the unit is 2.1, that is mentioned to you have to read layout of steam power station. Layout, that means what are the components and how they are laid down in the, and the unit is thermal power plant is made by taking all these units. First one is your boiler. You know, boiler also known as steam generator. Steam generator which produces steam continuously from water at high pressure and high temperature, and the heat content of the steam, which is called enthalpy. Total heat of the steam is known as enthalpy. That enthalpy it reduces by after expansion to by expansion we get the work done. That means the heat energy is converted to mechanical energy in the turbine. This turbine is known as prime mover. We will read details in the turbine. You will find what are the starter blades, turbine shaft. So, and also turbines are classified by three types: high pressure turbine, intermediate pressure turbine, low pressure turbine. So, I have shown only one turbine for simplicity. So, this is the turbine, is mentioned here, turbine. This first is boiler. We are going in this clockwise manner. From it produces steam. Here steam is at high pressure, high temperature enters into the turbine. Here it enters, and after expansion. So, this is the symbol of expansion, that means volume increases in this manner, volume increases, and we get the work done. So, here the turbine blades are there. In the blade, the turbine fluid, the steam passing through the turbine blades, that is the reaction force is produced, and that kinetic energy, the velocity of from the boiler, actually there is a nozzle. In the nozzle, this heat energy is converted into kinetic energy, and in the nozzle the heat is produced. That means nozzle is also a part of the turbine. That is why it is not mentioned here. Steam nozzle, the steam boiler, steam enters into the steam nozzle, where the steam accelerator or the velocity of the steam increases, that we get the kinetic energy, and that kinetic energy when passed through the turbine, that kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy. That means we will get produces force, that is due to change in momentum. So, you get the force, that is a change in momentum, that mass of the steam into your VW1 plus or minus VW2, that is your force, mechanical force produced. And if you give the radius, multiply radius, you get the torque into angular velocity, that is your mechanical power, or known as BP, brake power. That brake power is transmitted to the generator shaft by here there is a coupling. This is the coupling, this is the turbine shaft and this is the generator shaft. They are coupled together, and the total unit is known as turbo generator set, TG set, and this is called generator, or it is also known as alternator. Here the AC current is produced, alternate current, so that is called alternator. and this is the symbol of the generator, and we will get the electricity 3-phase supply. That means we will get the output electrical energy. So, which is our essential nowadays. Without electrical energy, you cannot run any office or any plant, anything cannot run without electricity. So, which is very much in domestic as well as in industrial purposes, everywhere electrical energy is a need. So, therefore, this power station engineering is a very important chapter subject for both mechanical engineer and electrical engineers, because it is the same electricity is produced, but this is common to both branches. This is very important, and it is where we will get some and by the domestic consumers will give you the bill, जमती आम बिल आम इलेक्ट्रिक बिल पेमेंट करुचे ताद्वारा केते आमर जनरेशन रेवेन्यू आसूची, दैट इट इज ऑल्सो इज ए पार्ट ऑफ इन डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द कंट्री. So this power plant also like steam power plant, steel power plant, steel plant and other NALCO aluminum plant. This plant also is a revenue generating organization. That means from this we are getting fund for the development of the country and state. So for all citizens of the country. So it is very important like steel power plant, NALCO aluminum power plant, anything. So this is also very important subject. So then after turbine, the steam is exhausted, that means pressure reduces. Suppose here it is 150 Pascal or megapascal.